Roll call.
Commissioner Boland?
Here.
Mayor Fox?
Here.
Solicitor Carrigan?
Here.
I have one addition to the agenda. It's a resolution number 2019-067. I'll read that in the natural order of things. It was a late agenda.
What was it in reference to?
What's that?
What's it in reference to?
It is the USDA for Triad.
Okay.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting as presented?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Ordinance 575, this is the first reading and introduction. This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 520, 2013, regulating recyclable materials. You've gotten your tax bills, or if you haven't gotten them, they did go out this week, and there's a note in there. The Cape May County Way is no longer going to accept hard, rigid plastics or shredded paper. That's their decision. We follow their rules as to what they deem as a recyclable item. As of October 1st, they won't be accepting them. They will be considered trash. So we have to change our recycling ordinance to meet now their criteria. So that's what this is, a first reading. The second reading, the public hearing will be next month. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-063 is authorizing the extension of the grace period for the August 2019 tax quarter. This will take it till September the 3rd. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-064 is a resolution appointing certain municipal representatives to the Atlantic County Joint Insurance Fund. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-065 is authorizing the refund of escrow fees to South Jersey Gas Company. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-066, acknowledging the awarding of a search grant from the USDA in the amount of $30,000. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
This is a late agenda item. It's resolution number 2019-067, authorizing a professional service agreement between the Borough of West Wildwood and Triad Associates for USDA Rural Development Search Grant Administration/Project Administration. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the bills when properly signed and endorsed?
Motion.
Second?
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Reports from commissioners.
Activity report for the month of July for Public Works Department. Full work orders for maintenance of public works vehicles, full work orders to maintain public vehicles, public works vehicles and then police vehicles. Full work orders for maintenance of public works equipment, full work orders to empty trash and recyclable containers throughout borough parks, full work orders to clean up trash in borough streets, full work orders to clean Borough Hall and remove trash from recycling, full work orders to maintain and flood pumps at the south end of Neptune Avenue, 2 work orders to maintain and inspect floodgates, 2 work orders to clean catch basins throughout the borough, 1 work order to set up 4th of July bicycle parade, 2 work orders for repairs of police vehicles, 1 work order to pick up TVs throughout the borough, 1 work order for maintaining flood vehicles, 2 work orders to sweep borough streets, 1 work order for cleaning and maintaining streets, the street sweeper, 1 work order to weed whack 26th Avenue, a curb and bulkhead, 1 work order to install a new outlet sign on O and Pine Avenues, 1 work order for repairs of code enforcement vehicle, 1 work order to pick up bulk metal, 4 work orders to pick up yard waste within the borough, 4 work orders to cut grass at Borough Hall and public parks, 2 work orders to cut grass at public PDW yard and fire department, 1 work order to remove weeds at Kayak Park, 1 work order for an oil change for police vehicle, 1 work order to secure a filing cabinet to the wall in the tax office, 1 work order to cut high weeds and grass at 619 West Poplar Avenue, 1 work order to remove a handicap parking sign on Poplar Avenue that no longer is needed, 1 work order to till, mulch, and remove weeds growing at the playground, 1 work order to clean up and weed whack weeds growing along bulkhead at beach. 111 total work orders for the month of July. Commissioner Golden?
Okay, activity report for the month of July 2019 for the police department. Property checks, 342. Direct patrols, 52. Backup officer, 40. Parking complaint violations, 36. Motor vehicle stops, 22. General complaints, 14. Parking violations, 12. Direct walking beat duties, 12. Other public services, 10. Follow-up investigations, 9. Assisting other agencies, 9. Animal complaints, 8. Thefts, 6. Relay person paper, 5. Block driveway, 5. Administrative duties, 5. Noise complaint, 4. Medical emergency assistance, 4. Lost and found property, 4. Found property, 4. Property check, 3. Suspicious vehicle, 2. Suspicious vehicle, again, 2 more noted. Motor vehicle accidents, 2. Follow-ups, 2. Department services, 2. Wires, pole, down tree calls, 1. Water leak, 1. Verbal dispute, 1. Suspicious persons, 1. Suspicious activity persons, 1. Simple assault, 1. Shoplifting, 1. Police information, 1. Open door, 1. Motor vehicle accident, no injuries, 1. Message delivery, 1. Juvenile complaint, 1. General complaints, 1. Fireworks, 1. Civil matter, 1. Burglary, 1 again. And alarm for fire and CO detector, 1. That's a total of 635 calls for service on the month of July 2019. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Don, is there anything else before the meeting to the floor?
No.
At this particular time, I'll open the meeting to the floor for any comments from you folks. Yes.
Mary Ann Wells, 741 West Poplar. Regarding resolution 064, so what individuals were appointed to the joint insurance fund?
That would be Elaine Crowley, moved up to the position where Chris Ridings held, and Carl O'Hala, the deputy clerk, moved into the secondary spot.
Okay, so they're the 2 representatives from the Borough of West Wildwood, Carl and Elaine, that will be on the joint insurance fund?
That's correct, yes. And that's why we asked Donna that I want you, when you read these, I want you to read the names as well, so there's no confusion about it.
Sure.
right.
Also, just to clarify then, I am actually also on there as the alternate for the claims coordinator. Elaine is the claims, will be the claims coordinator on the alternate for that.
Yes.
Susan Spallina, 547 West Maple. I just want to give a shout out to Officer Hannah, who responded to a person that was putting their construction material in my dumpster, and he stopped it, and I just wanted to thank him for that.
Okay. I'm sure he gets that, definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anna M. Nancy Doherty, 215 R Avenue. There was a thing in the Herald last week about, I don't know, residents stating that a male and a female came to his house. And I just want to put it on the record. I was going on the streets, introducing myself, getting a petition, and this never happened. He never spoke to me. I spoke to many people, and that never happened. And I'm also on the ballot November 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Helen Reyes, 741 West Poplar. What's the resolution for the $30,000 grant? What is that about?
What was it? I'm
That's
sorry.
the search grant that we had applied for through the USDA to do a feasibility study and look for updating the sewer infrastructure and the stormwater infrastructure. It's funding to help push that project along.
Pay for soft
It's the
costs and
first,
such.
kind of the first step.
Yeah, soft
Okay.
costs.
Soft costs
Yeah.
for engineering.
It's a good grant. Yes.
Being it here, 641 Glenwood Avenue. About the recycling ordinance, what do we consider hard, rigid plastic? That could be a little bit misleading. I mean, big Tide bottles can be hard or rigid.
Well, that's
I
to
mean,
be
we know
determined.
plastic bags can't go in there, but what are we considering hard rigid?
Well, we're still waiting for the county to get back on us.
Yeah,
so we-
they're clarifying it, it's like 5-gallon buckets or bigger.
Right.
Okay.
Playground equipment,
paint
lawn
buckets,
chairs.
Right.
You know, some of the children's toys are hard rigid plastic.
Well, that should be common sense, you would think.
Well, you were asking.
Well, no, no, no,
I mean, I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to be limiting, but you didn't know either. So hard rigid plastic is 5-gallon, it's larger, like,
Right.
it's not household food product containers.
Right.
Anything other than that.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Any other questions, folks? Yes,
A
sir.
letter was sent in yesterday, I guess.
Oh, sorry, you just need your name and address, please.
Joe Segrist, 2 I Avenue. A letter was sent in yesterday from CTWW with a number of questions. Did you receive that?
The clerk advised me of it late yesterday, and I did not have time to review it, but if you have the questions you want to ask them, I'm more than happy to listen.
Yes. We'd like you to explain the rationale for your decision to go against council's advice in the JIF, or any JIF cooperation clause in the SEPA case that led to the non-payment of the JIF. So what was the rationale for, I guess, Scott, you're the one.
Yeah, I was one of the
voted.
2 commissioners that made the decision on it. At the time, we followed our attorney's advice and took the path that we felt was going to put the borough in the least liable state for anything. And that's basically, you know, a decision that was made 7 years ago. And that's the reason we chose to go the path that we did.
Right, my understanding is the attorney advised you not to do the rehire, and you went against the attorney's advice.
That's not what I recall out of it, okay? What I recall out of it was that we had multiple decisions to take. We took the decision that basically we felt would cost or possibly eliminate any liability to the borough. And hindsight being 2020, things didn't quite go accordingly, as you can see, because the JIF managed to get themselves out of the lawsuit, but we're stuck with what we got, and that's where we're at.
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ann Walsh, 741 West Wildwood. Just to, on that thread, okay, I want to read to you from Judge Pickering's decision.
Yeah,
Sure, I'm sorry.
Be louder.
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
This is Judge Pickering's decision, okay, and his decision was recently reaffirmed by the appellate judges, okay? Page 21, and it's an exchange between DeSanto, was he the JIF, attorney for JIF, I believe?
Let Marcus
DeSanto and
clarify
Bittner.
what attorney was for who.
I think, well, Bittner was the borough's attorney.
Bittner was the borough's attorney,
And I
yes.
believe DeSanto was the JIF attorney. So, anyway, DeSanto to Bittner. Mary, I understand that they are being directed to not oppose Michelle, Forensics Counsel Michelle Douglas, his motion for summary judgment on the prerogative writ appealing from the disciplinary decision. I must advise that such a direction has potential adverse consequences to the borough. If we do not oppose the motion and the motion is granted, then that determination can be used by Lieutenant Ferenz in pursuing her SEPA claim and other claims. Then Bittner responds to DeSanto saying, I agree. I presented several options to the commissioners on how to handle the issue without compromising the SEPA claim. I actually had them initial the options as they rejected them. I advised that the way they want to go may result in a loss of coverage / defense for the SEPA claim. Exhibit Mel 22, this email exchange was several weeks after Samaro's letter of May 24, 2012, and months before the release was approved on October 5, 2012. So what you just said, this completely contradicts it. And I would like to know if Mayor Fox signed off on those options as well.
The answer is no, I did not sign off, but I will tell you this.
Well, did you
That-
initial those options?
I wasn't, no, I did not initial options, no, I did not.
Okay, because
But I will tell
she
you
says
this,
the
that-
commissioners, she says the commissioners, and she didn't say.
But listen, I doubt, and I will also, what she's not saying also is that decide where, they're saying if you don't do what these commissioners agreed, that Lieutenant Ferenc walks into another court with the charges that were pending against her, which are most ridiculous charges I've heard in my life. Let me finish. Let me finish. Listen, I won't answer the question. I won't answer the question. I have no problems not answering the question.
Of course you're not going to.
Well, listen, I'm trying, you don't want to hear you don't want to hear it.
No, it's
That's
not.
why you don't want to hear
I was
it.
not going to answer the question.
The question wasn't that you answered, she gave us several options to take. According to her letter, I believe there was 3 options on the table at
Okay,
the
that's
time.
several.
And we basically took the option, I took the option, I can't speak for Commissioner Maxwell, but obviously he did take the same option when he was here, that we felt was going to best release the borough of anything. And that's what we did.
Oh, my, okay, well, that's
And we
completely.
did what we felt was best for the borough.
Yeah, what were the other options, please? Can you
I
expand on
can't
those?
recall 7 years ago.
Okay, can we have that?
You can open request it and find out what was available. I don't know what paperwork there is. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yes.
Debbie Fox, 634 West Poplar Avenue, West Wildwood. Just need to ask you one question. Did you and the other commissioners decide on her, the amount that she won, or did it go to trial and a jury decided on this?
Everybody knows that a jury awarded.
A jury awarded,
yes,
okay,
not the borough.
okay, so this had nothing to do with the commissioners or anything else. A jury decided that she was found not guilty, and she was awarded this sum of money,
Correct.
correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kate Sampson, 2050 Avenue. That's true, but here's the other part of that. Recently, there was another article about the a secret meeting and suppression of evidence. And my question about that is, if what you all say was so egregious, what happened here, there would be no reason to suppress evidence. And Mayor Fox, there would be no reason for you not to tell the full extent of your relationship with her and say that she was
Do you live
your
in this
roommate. So, last year, in June, July, we were all here at a meeting, and this came up for you before, and we asked you, and you specifically said, everyone knows we're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Not what I
and they
said.
They voted for me
Listen,
anyway.
I don't care.
That's
It's
what
whatever
was,
you want to think.
you
I'm
said
okay with that.
in a meeting full of
And I'm
people.
okay. That's how you
So,
feel. I'm
but the
okay
point
with
I'm
that.
trying
Go
to make
ahead.
is if,
That's your
listen, I'm not
opinion.
saying something didn't happen here, but if it was so egregious, none of those things would have happened, and it could have played out the way it was supposed to play out.
None of these things would happen
And
if the
maybe she
former
would have
mayor
won something-
doesn't fire her.
Let me finish, please.
Doesn't fire her.
Maybe she would have won anyway, but not to the degree that this is, because what we feel like, or many of us feel like, and I can't speak for everybody, but many of us feel like we are just paying, first off, that it landed on our lap is absolutely a disgrace and has everything to do with the decision that was made by the commissioners. That's why we are
I
paying
disagree
for
with
it.
you.
But it also, regardless of how much it is, but the other part of that is, we wouldn't be here if you let it play out the way it was supposed to, and not just, I feel like we're paying for the personal vendettas, for you to get vengeance for your
Are you supposed to?
girlfriend. That's how we feel.
Okay,
I mean,
and
and
listen,
so I know
get-
you
I
don't
said
see
it
it
a long
that way,
time.
but that is definitely how we see it.
I don't, but you're entitled to your opinion. I respect your opinion. I do. What else can I tell you?
But you did say that last year.
Commissioner, you don't mess with my money. Okay? Oh, Zajac, 753 West Poplar. I don't have a problem with any. You don't mess with my money, okay? I'm retired. I don't know about the rest of you, but you have the same feeling, right?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay, so that's why we're here.
Okay.
Don't mess with our money, and that's being messed with.
We're paying the price.
We're paying for it, and you know what? That's not fair. I know life isn't fair, but damn. Gee.
Helen Reyes, 741 West Poplar. It is true that the jury awarded the amount to Lieutenant Perez, but that was based on the fact that they were not able to hear about the disciplinary action that resulted in her termination, that was upheld by a hearing officer that reviewed all of the disciplinary actions and felt that, I believe, 4 out of the 5 of them stood up, and she not only should have been suspended, but she should then have been terminated from the position. So as a result of the resolutions that Scott and Commissioner Maxwell signed that were against the advice of the attorney, all of that, in all of those actions were then as if they never happened, and they were not able to be admitted. The jury was not able to hear any of that information. So, yes, it's true, the jury awarded it, but they did not have the information as to what went into this, and the commissioners and the mayor of our borough did nothing to help in the defense. The action that resulted in the award was all based on your actions, well, not yours, Mayor, because you abstained from everything, but Maxwell and Golden, but we are the ones paying the price.
Right.
We are the ones stuck with
Right.
this. And you've got no problem with it, and yet you continue to act, I feel, in your own interest and not in the interest of the borough.
And every month
You
you're
know,
going to say it, and
for
every month I'm going to listen to it. That's your opinion.
As much as you're changing the meeting dates and times from Friday evening to Wednesday afternoon, you are blatantly discouraging people from coming. And, you know, I asked you at the
About
last
it.
meeting, your wife answered instead of you, but you're telling me that your children play tournament softball every weekend all year long?
I didn't say all year long.
Your wife said that.
But listen, that's my personal life, so don't bring my personal life.
I'm asking you.
I don't want to hear about it.
Our meeting. You used that as an excuse
I
for
did, it's not an
changing the
excuse,
meeting
that's a
date.
fact.
You used it as an excuse to change the meeting date and time.
the commissioners-
Do they play all year long?
Okay,
Do they play every weekend all year long?
no.
No, okay, well, then somebody's a liar.
But listen, I don't want, next question, please. I don't want to argue about lying, not lying. Sir.
Then don't lie.
Go ahead.
Mark Mann, 606 West Glenwood Avenue. I'm just a blue-collar guy, so let me run this through the way I see it. Number one, who did the ramp the last time it was done?
I
The
don't.
police ramp that we need redone? Wasn't that done like 6 years ago?
No, I was done a lot longer than that, but you see how beat up it is.
Yeah, but who did it, I said?
Cousins Masonry.
Who?
Cousins Masonry Incorporated.
You're not related to them, right?
Well, I worked for them, yes.
Okay, so you did the job, right?
No, I didn't do the job, no.
And
After that, I was related to them, not
I'm just
them.
asking now, like I said, I'm just a blue-collar guy, right? I'm not real smart, never went to college. Let me ask you now. Scott, you own a marina, but you build houses. But you do have a little boat on your marina, right? And I asked you last meeting about your taxes going down 12%, my taxes going up 24%. So I did a little research. Happened to call the State Attorney General's office again. Not on you this time, Chris, just on him. Okay, here goes the deal. You buy a house with your girlfriend for $350,000, the taxes were $7,800 a year. Builds a house now that's worth $750,000, but his taxes are less than $5,500 a year. He told me last year when I asked that he had the occupancy. Now, the house is still listed as land.
Mark,
He said, wait, I'm talking,
keep it to me.
please, don't
Keep it to
disrupt
me.
me.
Keep it to me.
He said to me last meeting that he paid $15,500 a year. So, and this is another question, Scott, your medical, are we paying for you,
First off,
or are we paying
let's
for
get
you and
something
your
straight.
girlfriend and
Mark,
your son?
Mark, let's get something straight. I'm not going to argue with you over this,
Okay.
okay? I don't know where you get your tax information.
From the New Jersey West Wild Real Estate
Okay, well,
Tax.
something's
dot-
really wrong, 'cause
dot
my
com.
tax bill just
I
came
stopped here and
today.
they told me the same information. So go
Whatever
ahead.
my tax bill for that property that you're talking about, which is not a marina, it's a residential house that has normal boat slips out back of it, it's on the water, is 13.
I'm talking about the marina down here on
That's
Glenwood
not a
Ave.
marina, that is a
That's a
commercial.
house?
It's a commercial property with a house on it. It meets the code requirements, and it's two separate properties.
And your taxes went down 12%.
Last meeting, you accused me of tampering with Zillow, okay, because you.
No, I
brought it up.
I didn't say anything about
All right.
tampering. I said, was Zillow right? You said no.
And I said regarding, because you brought up the 601 property on Poplar Ave at that time.
Right, your girlfriend's property.
Right.
Right. That you pay $15,500 a year.
I'm not quite sure exactly.
For the
what
last
tax
3
bill
years, it
is.
says $5,500. But that's okay, because the state attorney's going to look into that one
That's
too.
fine, they can come
Now, let me
over
ask,
here.
and this is
I'll
real
make them a pot
important.
of coffee, okay? But the
As a
bottom line
commissioner
is-
and as our so-called mayor, are you guys allowed to do work in the township, even though you work for the township?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that you were allowed to do that. Did anybody
Well,
else know that?
ask the
Did
Attorney
mayor-
General office.
Now, do
Ask
you
the
bid
Attorney
on the
General.
jobs that you also accepted bids from? Yeah.
No,
That's common?
no.
See, I don't know. I'm from Grace Ferry in the big city. They don't do that.
I don't do any government work, number one.
Okay, is your girlfriend and baby covered under your medical?
Yes, they are.
And he's not married. Now, does anybody else know that where that exists?
My child is covered under my medical.
You said your girlfriend
My
was,
girlfriend
too.
is not. I will clarify that my girlfriend is not under my medical.
Okay. Now, you said that you didn't know you screwed up when you signed, you didn't take the advice of the lawyer. You took the advice of you and Max. Oh, where's Maxwell? And where's Chris?
All right, move on.
Now, wait a minute. We just replaced Chris's job. We have no money. How much did we pay for the appeal, attorney? For the appeal we just lost?
I don't have the figure.
Well, what would you, you're an attorney. What would you guess?
So, what we were asked is, what's the outstanding balance? Okay, relative to the last bill from Jacobs and Barbone. I called there, they indicated there's an outstanding balance of $600. I do not have the full cost of their appeal, that's not sent to me, but you can get that information.
Okay, well, we paid for an appeal, but the judge said you sent the same documentation in that you did with the first case. So you knew you were going to lose that,
Wait.
just like we knew we were going to lose everything. If anybody doesn't understand, let me explain it in simple terms. This was a fucking scam. They ripped us off, they stole from us. And if you weren't, if it wasn't that 10 years older and 100 pounds heavier, I'd take both your asses outside.
And you'd
like a
lose.
dog.
And you'd lose.
I would, no, I wouldn't.
You would lose.
No, I wouldn't.
Go outside, practice falling down, I'll be out in a minute.
Come on, let's go. 1 minute.
Mark,
Let's go.
Go ahead, Mark. You need to grow
Look
up.
at the wife. She's going to go outside for
You
it.
need to grow up.
Your foul mouth.
All right, let's get out of here. I'm gonna have to close this meeting.
Close it down. Motion to close.
Go, Mark.
I don't-
Hey, listen, please, go ahead, ma'am. It's enough.
What I would like to say, as a result, I mean, obviously, it really, oh, sorry, Kate Sampson, 205 O Avenue. I honestly feel like you should pay for this. You and Maxwell should be paying this. I mean, because of their actions, we have no recourse. And I stood up before and said here that if the JIF, who we pay a premium to annually, can say, we're not paying it because we weren't represented appropriately, the taxpayers feel the same exact way. But so since we have no recourse, and it was your decision that brought us to that laying in our lap, regardless of who gave the amount of the judgment, I really feel like you guys should pay it. I don't know how we can make that happen, but that's really what should happen.
Well, and again, the insurance company had an opportunity to settle her beforehand, said no, for a lot lesser number. Guess so, and they were all for it. The insurance company said no, so
Maybe because, well.
so it could have been a lot
But
less.
we would like to hear why they felt that way.
I mean, you think you should call them?
And
I mean,
whatever
somebody
you
else
will.
talked to them according to the article in the paper. Somebody spoke to Jeff, so go talk to the guy at Jeff.
Mary Ann Wells, 741 West Poplar. So again, they're not paying because, well, first of all, Scott, I just want to reiterate, Scott and Maxwell made the decision to oppose Mary Bittner's recommendations on what the borough should do. Right, Scott? So you did.
No, that's not correct. We took Mary's advice and.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay, so you're saying.
Again, there were
that-
several, as you read, several options in her letter. I don't remember the 7 options, okay? We took her opinion upon what we needed to do what was correct for the borough. That's all.
No, okay, so, okay, then we have to get Mary Bittner's opinion on this, I guess, because you're saying something that's opposite of what was in Judge Pickering's documents,
But
okay?
I'll be,
So maybe Judge Pickering
as
doesn't have.
forthcoming as I can be here with this, is that there's no way I would ever try to put the borough in jeopardy of owing millions of dollars, okay? At the time, please, talking, right, at the time, we made the decisions, I made the decision, I speak for Mr. Maxwell upon what he did, okay? Because he's not here anymore either, so, but I made decisions that were right at the time, that we felt were right at the time, and that's it. It's 7 years ago. I can't change the past. We have to move forward with this.
Okay, well, the problem is, we can't move forward because this is hitting our pocketbooks. Every year, every tax year, okay, it's hitting our pocketbooks. And that's, we have an issue with this, okay?
Your taxes went up 0 last year. Your taxes went up 0, so how did it hit you in the wallet? I would love to know. We took the thing, we had furloughs, we did everything we could to make sure it didn't hit you in the wallet, and it didn't hit you in the wallet.
Right, and they
Don't go
shouldn't have
there.
gone down. They should have gone down 13 cents.
They shouldn't have, because we would never touch the school budget, so that's wrong.
It is not.
It is wrong, you're wrong.
Okay.
Wrong. You don't understand.
I'm sorry.
Your taxes did not go up last year, they did not go up this year. So they did not hit the wallet. They were not going to go down. That's your spin.
You know,
Do the
I
spin.
believe you're delusional. Okay.
Oh, I gotta tell you something. I feel the same about you, so please.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Dorothy Wright from 741 West Poplar, you just said after we had to start making the payments, you guys did everything you could to save the borough money, which is actually true. But you did what was in the best interest for the people of the borough. But yet, several years before that, when you were given options to make the best interest for the borough by JIF, you chose not to pay attention to those, and you made the decisions that were best for yourself. So again, it's the same point. And sorry if you're tired of hearing about it, or if Scott, if it was 7 years ago, but it is affecting our pocketbooks.
Absolutely.
And when we were here last year, and Maxwell, Commissioner Maxwell, Chairman of the Finance Board, he said that, yes, we should have seen a reduction in our taxes, or we did receive a reduction in our taxes because of the decrease in the school taxes. So did you just say a few minutes ago that that's not accurate?
I'm saying that's not accurate. The school board would not have released the money if we weren't in the situation we're in. That was a fight.
That's not-
Commissioner Maxwell, I'm just telling you what my opinion, or you don't want it, I don't care personally, but I'm telling you that is the opinion, okay? That is fact.
He sat here last year.
He's not here.
I understand that, but I'm sure if we
That's
go
not-
back and look at the minutes.
I will tell you that Max went and fought hard.
We were supposed to receive a reduction, so our taxes would not have stayed flat, as you keep on saying. They would have been reduced.
No.
So, yes.
No.
And again, we're the ones that
It was
are
6
paying.
cents last year,
Right,
70 cents
yes,
this year,
and now we're having
13
to-
cents.
Yeah, an increase. It might not be a lot to you, but to a lot of the people that live here, as several of the residents have said, we are paying for your poor choices, which were not made in the best interest for this community as far as I'm concerned.
And I disagree with you, but you have your opinion and I have mine.
Yes.
Again, we go.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Billy.
Bill Martin, 737 West Poplar. Commissioner Golden, where did you you and Maxwell, come up with this resolution to do away with these charges against Jackie Fernandez? It sounds like you had some legal counsel backing you.
We had legal counsel all the way recommending what we should and shouldn't do.
And who was that counsel at the
I
time?
believe at the time it was Mary Bittner.
And she's the one that told you not to go against the insurance company.
According to the letter that they have, she didn't tell us, she's telling the...
She didn't tell you guys?
just said they... Okay, I'd have to see the letter, I don't know what she did at the time, it was only 7 years ago, Bill. So, I said, again, 7 years ago, I myself made decisions that I felt were
So
best.
Mary
and the
Bittner
right
came
way
to you and
go.
said, if you want to clear Jackie, this is what we got to do, or did you guys come up with it?
We sat there and we basically negotiated what we needed to do to reduce the liability to the borough. That's all I remember. There was hours and hours and hours of meetings. And there was no secret meetings, put it like that. Everything was advertised and closed meeting in the back, and we came out and voted on everything.
Noreen Hickman, 214N. I haven't been to a lot of meetings, but I just would be curious as to why, okay, you got charges dismissed from someone, she got hired back into the police department, got her back pay, as I understand, but you didn't, I come from the corporate world, you didn't get something signed to say that you can have your job back, you're giving you your back pay and you can't sue us. Nobody ever thought of that?
Yeah, they should be able to.
She wouldn't sign it, that's what was said previously.
So you still hired her back in the best interest of the borough?
$70,000 raise.
And with the Brady letter,
Yeah,
and with the Brady letter.
which we're paying to represent now.
And how much does a police chief in a...
106.
How much does a police chief in this city of Wall make? Probably $120,000? And we're talking 30,
Probably 180,000.
okay.
I know the police chief of Wildwood makes about
That's like 10 times
175,000.
That's 10 times the size of this little community. I just find that
I
really hard
gotta
to believe.
tell you something, just like a road. When a road in Wildwood costs $1 million and they have 150, in their budget, a penny's 150,000, we come back here, a penny's 20,000, but yet the same road costs you $1 million. It makes no sense whether there's a police chief there, a police chief here. You should get paid fairly. Any job you have, whether it's a clerk, a deputy clerk, administrator, it should be fair. And it's not, and I think that's the way it should be. Don't be disciplined because it's a small town, it's not fair. So that's how I feel.
It's okay for other professions for it to be fair.
Yeah.
I think they all should be fair.
I just kind of don't get that, that's all. I just think it's a little overinflated.
Helen Rayo, 741 West Poplar. You can't compare the population in West Wildwood, the police force that she administers in West Wildwood, to that of Wildwood. Like, you can't compare that.
So you're telling me bad guys that go to Wildwood won't come here? I don't get that.
They're sitting here.
I know they are. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Does the police chief of Wildwood have a Brady letter?
Wait a minute.
No.
They're here.
Okay. Ma'am, go ahead.
Kathy Ashbridge, 537 Glenwood. I just want to tell you, as a school district administrator in New Jersey, it does depend on the size of the school district. Smaller school districts, superintendents make a lot less money, and teachers do too. So it does, in another public service and education, size matters.
Okay, and you work for the school district?
Yes,
And you agree with that?
yeah, I do.
I would never agree to that because I don't think it's fair to you as a teacher.
If you have less
Is it?
people.
Is
The job is
it?
easier.
I disagree with you.
If I have 10,000 kids and I'm a superintendent and you have 1,000, your job's easier.
I would disagree with that, but I hear you.
I totally agree with it.
I don't. Yes, sir.
How was it in the public interest of Borough of Wildwood for you to sign off on suppressing the only evidence you had in the SEPA case to, sign off or to resolve the prior case?
We're going to agree to disagree again. I don't believe the evidence, it was, the attorney for the borough chose to go his course and how he wanted to fight it. That evidence, regardless of what was said, was in there and he chose not to jump on it. That's what happened. So it was never omitted, okay? He had an opportunity when it was brought into the very beginning to jump on and go with it. He chose not to. For whatever reason, that was his decision as attorney to fight it, so it was not.
So the sign off on the prior lawsuit saying that data or that information could not be used? He said he ignored that and that actually was available to him?
No, yes. Because the other side brought it up and he didn't jump on it. And he could have jumped on it. Once it opens up, it's now fair game. And it was never used. But that's attorneys. This is what they do. That's their game. And they handle it, so.
Was that Barbone? Sorry.
Sorry?
Was that Barbone?
Barbone, yes. Go ahead, ma'am.
Anna and Doherty. I'm wondering, Scott, when you went to testify and they're asking you, was there any witnesses or anything about it? I mean, I don't know what they asked, but I would assume that they would want to know why she had the Brady letter, why she had all these disciplinary problems brought to them. And that was you've never spoken about it, which would help us.
When you go on the
Or
stand
even
and-
have Mayor Fredericks called in, whom is the one that did fire her, and she was found guilty of.
Well, when you're called to the stand, they ask questions, you answer the questions that the attorneys
But you're
ask you.
supposed to defend us. You should have mentioned it or given some kind of an inclination to help our case.
Well-
I don't know what you said, but apparently you didn't stick up for the people that do pay your taxes
All I
and pay
can tell
your
you is we told the
insurance
truth,
and
all of
take
the
care of
questions
you.
that were answered. were asked.
Yes.
John Bannon, 711 West Poplar. Scott, if you would, let's walk through this a little bit. If my understanding is the reason that you wanted the resolution is because you felt she was unfairly treated, is that correct?
I lived through it, she was unfairly
She
treated,
was
yes.
unfairly treated. But you also say that you didn't know what the charges or anything else were.
I didn't have a complete list. We
Okay,
really-
so you really didn't know?
I knew, I can't really answer that, 7 years ago is what we're dealing with.
But you're still here.
I'm
You
still
are
here.
still here.
I am still here.
So
That
you're
is
part of the
correct.
problem still.
Well, maybe you feel that way, but
Resign.
I feel as if I do a
Resign.
decent job for the
You're the one who
borough.
made the decisions that cost us this.
Look, I didn't make this decision solely, I'm not pushing it off on anyone else. I
But
did what I
you
felt
did.
was right, and that's basically what
But
it
you're
comes
still
down
here
to.
and you made that decision.
I am still here.
Okay?
I stand by the decision.
Did the finance board say you were doing everything right? No. They
No,
said you
finance
were doing it
board
wrong.
said that all of us, we were doing everything wrong.
I love you can spread it around.
Okay.
The courts all said that you did it wrong. Has anybody agreed with you that your decision was a good one? Anybody?
The attorneys representing us were agreeing with us that we made the right decision.
Which attorney?
Our solicitors at the time.
Which one?
Because everyone says that they told you not to do it.
Well, that's what the way they're putting it out there, that's all.
But the
So
courts
it's
also
not-
upheld that. They heard the case and they,
Well, again, you read what the court docket is and what the other end of the story is, there's two sides to
okay,
every
so
story.
is everyone else lying but him? Just,
I feel as if this was handled wrong across the board with what the courts did with it.
but you didn't even know that again, that she had a Brady letter or anything else. So you didn't even know what the charges were when you signed that resolution. Yep.
We knew at the time what we were dealing with. I can't specifically speak
Okay,
on
wait,
every charge.
Wait. You told me in the
Look,
past that you
at
did
the
not know
time,
about
at
the Brady
the
letter.
time when we were dealing with it, we knew what the charges were. The Brady letter, we didn't know about the Brady
Well, that
letter
was
until
part of it.
about
That was part of it.
6 months ago.
So you didn't know. So you were signing resolutions that you didn't know anything about.
We're following our attorney's advice with it, John. That's what it came down to. Although you guys don't see it that way, that's how it is.
So you don't think you made any mistakes?
I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect, but I feel I did the right thing.
How did it benefit us if you did the right thing? You ain't paying
I
taxes?
believe that the lawsuit probably would have escalated 10 times the amount of what we're paying.
Or if you lost the lawsuit and would have lost anything.
I disagree with
Well,
that.
but you didn't know she had the Brady letter, so
But
just by
again,
that alone. and
again,
your
what
own
was presented to
solicitor-
me at that time, we
Your
took the
own
best course
solicitor
of
said that
action.
what happens when most people get a Brady letter? What do? Your own solicitor said this.
Let the solicitor.
That wasn't a
explain. That's
solicitor,
all.
it was the other one. Said they fire them. So you had that. You had the opportunity, and guess what?
That's not true with the
That-
Brady letter.
Your own solicitor said most places fire them. And that's a fact, most try to fire them.
There's many departments with officers with Brady letters.
It's just three reasons that they have them, but that's beside the
Okay, well, again, but there's multiple reasons, as you said, and again, myself, Commissioner Maxwell at the time, we don't feel it was dismissible offenses what was going on. We weren't aware of
But
a
you
Brady
didn't
letter.
know.
and
By
that's it.
your own admission,
I'm
you
not
said you
gonna argue
didn't know.
7 years ago with you.
But
I
you're still-
can't speak for
but
7 years ago.
we're still gonna
I can tell you
bet.
what I ate 3 days ago that 11 was
Scott,
7 years ago.
would you think stepping down? I mean, obviously,
No, I'm not gonna step down.
Really?
No, I was voted into this position. I've held this position for almost 12 years
But
now.
do you-
and it's-
are you doing a good job at it?
I feel as if I'm doing a decent job at it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Nate, Helen Reyes, 741. Scott, are you saying that Mary Bittner is perjuring herself when she's saying that?
I'm not saying Mary Bittner's doing anything. I'm just saying we
Well,
followed the
you're-
advice at the time. You're asking me to
But she's
recall 7
saying-
years ago.
She is saying that what she did was present you and the commissioners options, 3 options for how to proceed with the case. You
Right.
did not accept any of the options
We
that
did.
were
We took
presented.
one of the options that Mary Bittner presented to
And you initialed
us.
the document that you were not taking her advice, that you intentionally went against the advice of counsel. And you're saying that that's not true, that attorneys are just saying what they need to say. Is that-
I took the advice of counsel. That is what I'm
So
saying.
you're contradicting what she is saying.
I
You're
guess I
saying that
am.
she gave you the advice to do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I am saying that I followed the advice of the
Of
attorney.
Mary
next week?
We done at that
Bittner
time,
to
yes.
reinstate Jackie in the position to
I'm not going to go word
dismiss-
for word on it because I don't
Well,
remember
these are the
exactly what it
actions that were
was.
taken. Dismiss the disciplinary actions, that she was on board with you doing that.
Yes,
And to reinstate her in the position that she had. Mary Bittner was on board with you doing that.
I believe she was at the time, yes.
Okay, and to give all of the pension and back pay and all of that. She was on board, she was in
That's it.
full
Everything,
agreement.
she was our legal counsel and in there at that time, and we left there, everybody was on the same page. So I
Okay,
say
so-
yes to that.
But that's completely the opposite of what she stated
I understand.
to a judge.
I understand what you're saying.
She's a
Okay,
liar.
she's a liar, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing that I wanted to, it'll come back to me, I'm sure. We have talked.
Dan, go ahead.
Down back 7 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever year, the Dan Gaffier, 641 Glenwood, sorry. Who appointed the hearing officer initially? Was it Chuck or was it the state of New Jersey? Just so we know that she had due process leading up to this mess that we're in.
Oh,
Who appointed the hearing officer?
I have no idea.
Has to go to the court, don't it?
No,
I don't believe so,
Chuck-
but-
I
Well, you
believe-
were-
I
you
believe
were-
Chuck
you-
issued the hearing officer at the time. I believe.
So the commission at the time appointed the hearing officer?
Yes.
How did Judge Pickering enter in his decision in
Well, Pick-
upholding that decision?
Pickering was the judge.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm trying to get to how we got to where we're at today. It was if you had a hearing officer stick the charges, the Superior Court judge offered down an opinion saying that the charges would stick, you guys hire her back when you guys take commission, six and a
Dan, there was no
half
Superior Court
years
judge.
later,
I'm-
after you get back in office.
No,
we-
stop for a second. You're saying Superior, where's the Superior Court judge come in? I'm
So in
confused.
2011, we go through, so what did Jackie, how much work did she lose to justify 1.7 plus?
I have no
the
idea.
back pay?
What you're talking about, we're talking about the hearing officer first, so guide me where you're
Who
going, 'cause I'm
appointed the
confused.
hearing officer?
I guess he's saying Chuck
I
Frederick.
believe
terminated Jack.
Chuck Fredericks.
Chuck did at the time.
So where are you going after that? I'm confused.
Okay, so that had an appeal, correct? Jackie appealed that?
Well, that's why I tried to explain earlier, but I got rudely cut off.
Okay.
She appealed that, and when she was getting ready to go into court for that, that's when the backdoor deal started happening, because if she wins, takes them charges in that court, in front of, I forget what judge it was.
Well, what backdoor
Let me
deal?
finish. Whatever judge that was, she would have won them charges, okay? And everybody knew it. So they said, okay, rather than do that, so she wins it and walks into the SEPA case waiving this deal that she did, these charges were ridiculous. They didn't want, it would have been not only the award, and it would have been after that, and Mary Bittner's obviously part of this, that it would have been, if the borough's wrong, what's that, other punitive damages. Punitive damage on top of it, because of, she would have been out of work 4 extra years, or whatever, how long it took to get to the actual trial.
Right.
She'd have been out, we had to pay that pension, all that. So when the jury awarded this $1.65 million, they went back and looked for punitive damages, which they're told to do, and they came out and came up with 0, which showed that the borough did what they were supposed to do. But, let me finish what you're asking, Dan.
Well,
So she never, if she had got to that case, that's where the trouble would arose, and we would have punitive damage, probably in excess of $1 million in punitive damages, more than likely, because of everything was wrong. So that didn't happen. That's why I'm trying to explain that there's things, regardless of what Mary Bittner says, and I wasn't there, but that's one thing that's not being talked about, because that's exactly one of the considerations that was taken through this whole thing, that was a possibility. So they chose to go the other way and say, okay, with talking to council and say, what's the best avenue? We think take your risk here, even if the GIF doesn't want to cover you, because it could cost you $1 million in punitive damages, which makes the borough at fault. That's what happened. But thank you for listening this time.
Punitive damages are not covered by your GIF policy.
Correct. They are not covered by GIF. You would have to pay them out.
We're on the hook for 1.8 million instead of 1 million.
No, it still would have been.
Instead of what could have been possibly 1 million. By your actions, GIF absolutely said that they will not handle this claim. That was an absolute that they would not. You're comparing that to a possibility of something that you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know what the outcome would have been.
Right, and you didn't know what the jury's gonna say either. Who would
But
ever,
we know
who would ever guess
Jim
that?
would not cover this claim.
But Jif would also have been, you would have been up for the $1 million in,
We're up for 1.8 million.
that, and that, again, that's what, but you're asking what happened behind closed doors.
1.8 million, then $1 million?
God, Dan, I apologize. God, let Dan finish.
So, all right, so let's just assume that Chuck appointed this hearing officer, and we had to take it to the next level, take it back into court,
Independent.
go through due process, go through the court hearing. I can't blame you because your signature's not on it. Scott's and Maxwell's why.
No, blame me because I support what
Why
they
did you
do.
feel it necessary to take the evidence out if you were so sure that she was mistreated and she would have won this case? Why not let it go forward and let the cards lay where they may?
Yeah.
Just put all the chips out there and let the jury see it for what it is. The jury has no decision to make if there's no evidence to judge it on. I mean, jury's got eyes just like we have. They have minds like we have. They're only going to judge by what they see and hear. If there's nothing there to be seen, the borough's on the hook. And you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well,
There's no evidence there, Chris.
Evidence for what, Dan?
You guys passed the ordinance to suppress the evidence put into court.
But it was open, and again, I'm gonna say it a million times, even with attorneys, even our own attorneys, I disagree with how to handle certain things. In this case, Lou
But aren't
Barbone,
they
the
the
door
ones
was
with the
open,
law
Lou
degrees?
Barbone missed it.
Aren't they the
He
ones
could
with
have
the
done
law
it.
degrees?
Pardon
You
me?
know, I'm sure they're not going to perjure themselves by giving you guys false information saying we should suppress this evidence when into court.
But when the other attorney opened it up, he should have jumped on it, and didn't. Because he had another way of handling the case, that's their job. As much as even with Marcus might do a certain thing, and I turn and say, Mark, I would have done this way. He says, Chris, I'm the attorney, let me do it my way. Okay, he is the attorney, that's what you do.
Hi, Mayor Fox. My name is Patricia Mycroft. I live at 700 West Poplar. I hear a lot of concerns about equal pay for people that work in Wildwood and people that work in West Wildwood and people that work in different districts because of how heavily they're populated and whatever. In November, let's see, this is 19, it was a while ago, 17, I was robbed. And they had the robbers on film selling my jewelry.
Right.
These people kicked in my door for the second time. They came in, they robbed me. They took my grandmother's jewelry, my mother's jewelry, a lot of sentimental pieces, and plus they violated my privacy. And they had those people on film over in Wildwood selling my jewelry.
Okay,
Now, I believe your sergeant at the time was Dots?
right?
Okay. And he was kind enough to come up and give me 2 or 3 pieces that were identified as mine. And I thought at that time, maybe they had all of the jewelry, which was estimated to be around $15,000. But because I didn't have the receipts from my grandmother and my mother and things that I had bought 50 years ago, it really didn't matter. And the point of this is that they were on film taking my belongings. And the multiple times that I came down to your police station and I asked the officer to have that sergeant call me multiple times, he never did, never. And I was coming down the streets and he was pulling in for his shift.
Okay.
And I pulled over and I confronted him. I said, what are we doing with this? He said, well, if you really are certain in your heart that that's your jewelry, go over and buy it back.
Wow.
They were his words, as God is my witness, and I've said it to other people, and I've said it to them multiple times. And that's just not, that's going back 2 years. But recently, I was locked out of my home.
Okay.
Because I forgot my keys. My fault, whatever. I came down to this police station and all the cars were parked here. I came down 5 times. Now, both of these incidents happened in the slow time, November and maybe it was April.
Okay.
And after the 5th time, and I was already banging on the door, calling back, is somebody back there, is somebody back there? I thought all the cars are out here, somebody has to be back there. And I think it was a Sunday. Anyway, Finally, after the fifth or sixth time, I don't remember, he comes out and says, well, the doorbell wasn't ringing. The doorbell wasn't ringing.
And that was Dodd again, Sergeant Dodd?
No,
Okay.
it was a tall, dark-haired officer.
Okay.
It was over the weekend. But is that an appropriate answer? Why anyone wasn't at the front desk, or no cameras noticed, or me knocking on the door? It could have been, and I know if it was a real emergency, I would have called 911.
Right, I know.
But I'm a grown woman, and it was a nice day. I wasn't out in the snowstorm. But that's not appropriate care that this county deserves.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone else thinks I'm right or wrong.
Well,
But you, as a father, as a husband.
I agree.
And as a resident,
Mhm.
you know that is not acceptable behavior, the officers that you represent.
well, I certainly don't agree with, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't agree with the way it's treated, so.
I'm not irate, I'm not.
No, I get it, and you're right. And Scott, you going to talk to them?
Yeah, I will address that. Something happened
thank you for
basically
your
2
time.
years
All
ago.
right, thank you, Pat.
I will address it.
Yes, go ahead, Sam.
I'm Samantha Halls, live at 210 Q Avenue.
Let's stop, please.
I have special needs children, and I love this police department back here. Several officers at several times when my kids are in a heat of the moment or a breakdown, they coddle them, they make them better, they return them home. So thank you for your police department, because they're awesome for my kids.
All right, thank
And they
you,
make this
Sam.
community very safe.
We appreciate that, thank you.
Susan Swilling, 547 West Maple. Was Officer Dodd recently disciplined for something?
I can't discuss disciplinary actions with the officers,
Not a yes or
on any
no.
officer whatsoever.
I'm not asking what the disciplinary officer,
I can't discuss
Charges were.
anything regarding that.
Yeah, man.
is that true?
State Jack, 753 West Poplar.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You said that Barbone didn't jump on
I
the
think-
opening that he had.
And again, yes, I disagree with some of the things Barbone did, but he had a different avenue. I think there's areas he could have done better in. He didn't, but that's only my opinion, so,
Right.
yes.
So, did you voice your opinion to him at all?
Oh, you have no idea.
Okay, so couldn't he use that in the appeal?
Is
or
that,
no?
pardon me?
Couldn't he have used that in the appeal?
They choose to do what they want to
So
do.
I'm going to say this. They selected Jacobs and Barbone to represent them in this. And Jacobs and Barbone has a great reputation. Lou Barbone is a certified civil trial attorney. I've tried matters against him. I've been involved in cases with him. And sometimes attorneys pick a strategy to utilize a case. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. You pick your attorney based on his reputation and your confidence in him. And Lou had a very good reputation. If this is a strategy that he chose to employ, I can't speak to that. I didn't manage the case. I didn't deal with supervising his handling, his legal theory. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
But what I'm asking is, could he have used that in the appeal? Since it was opened up in the original trial, or?
Well, no, because the appeal is predicated upon the record below.
Okay.
In other words,
So it wasn't
once
brought up.
once you try the case, okay, you have a set of exhibits, you'll have a transcript of the arguments, you'll have the transcripts of the witness testimony. The appeal is limited to those documents, absent some judicial error or some error on the part of the jury. Okay? So, no.
Okay. And one other question, the hearing officer that was assigned or appointed, was a resolution done for that? Because I know that, don't we have a hearing officer now that we,
Yes,
didn't we pass a resolution or something to?
yes.
Wasn't a resolution passed back then?
You know what, Scott?
I'm sure there's one there, I believe there is.
You're talking about when Frederick's hired, what's his
I'm
name?
pretty sure there is a resolution for, I think it was Coldren was the hearing officer at the
Coldren,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be able to open request that, I think there's one in there, there should be
Okay.
at the time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, wait 1 minute. In the back.
Hi, I just want to clear one thing up. I really have not had all negative things with the police department. I've had a lot of difficulties, and a lot of you are aware of it over the past several years, and the police have stepped up to the plate. But when they haven't, they haven't. And it's,
That's right.
and I've worked in the medical, and you don't get that second chance.
That's right.
When you're called, when you come to duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you are on duty, you're on duty.
Yep.
And that's it, and
That's
there's
right.
no excuse for not being there. And I want to tell you,
Yep.
my family's been in this neighborhood for 50 years,
Yep.
more than that.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have moved here if I didn't think it was a good community. But I want to get it back to where it was. And I want to pray that it gets back to where it was. Because people talk to each other. You didn't have to worry about your next door neighbor
Right.
coming in and kicking in their door when the police department is only 3 doors away.
Right. No, you're right,
It's not
Pat.
right.
No, you're right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Me?
Yes.
Zajac, 753. Is he Sergeant Dodd? Is he still employed with the borough?
Yes, he is, yes.
And may I ask who hired him?
I believe Frederick hired him. Herbert
Really?
Mayor Frederick hired Dodd, yes.
That's
Really?
dots, not Dodd.
What?
There's 2 dots and Dodd.
I call him Dodd, I think it's
It's
D-O-D-D.
Dodd.
I like him very much, but somewhere I saw he had a Brady letter.
That I can't discuss with you, I can't
Well,
discuss
he's trying
Brady
to
letters
tell
in
me he has
regards
a
to
Brady
anybody, so.
Okay.
Just to clarify, in all fairness, you did mention last meeting that you were hiring 2 officers to fill in for 2 officers that are in the reserves. So before we start jumping to conclusions, it could have been that he was serving the country too. Another one, I want to give kudos to your daughter for showing up on a call last week. When my uncle needed the cops, they were there in less than 2 minutes. The rescue was there in less than 4 minutes. So I'll give credit where credit's due. We're not here to beat you up, we're here to get answers. Everybody wants answers in the worst way.
I agree.
So, just in all fairness, you did mention that I think you said we had 2 officers in the reserves, if I heard correctly?
Yeah, 2, I believe it's 2.
So let's just assume maybe he was in the reserves. I don't know, but he was here on Monday morning. I see him. I waved on me, waved back. The person that robbed Pat's house, he's in jail, so don't worry. That person's not still running the streets. It's one of the people that are labeled in the Mulvaney lawsuit, just in case anybody's wondering. He's where he should be,
Right.
and he should never be out again. But that's our system at its best.
Right.
So
Thank you,
that's all.
Jay.
I'll pass that on.
Debbie?
You know, and like, you know, and.
Debbie, you gotta tell
Oh,
Donna.
Debbie Fox, 634 West Poplar Avenue, you know, and Dan, you're right, we need to move on, but this is for the solicitor. By discussing what happened 7 years ago and bringing it up and who did what and who didn't do what, and who should have done something, who shouldn't have done something, is anything that is being discussed right now, last meeting, the meeting before, the meeting before, going to change the outcome of what the jury decided in favor of Jackie Perez?
Well, of course not.
Of course, it what?
It will not.
It will not change. So talking about every single meeting, here we are at 5 after 4, that's probably one of the first things that was brought up. So now we're on 65 minutes almost, not just of that, but a majority of it on the trial, or what should have been done, what should have been done. So whatever is being talked about and complained about, and like Dan said, and we all feel we need to move on, but continuing to talk about it, am I correct, will not make a difference of the outcome of that trial.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, folks?
Thank you, 538 West Magnolia. Let's go back with moving on. And this is a question for Scott and Chris. The rhetoric today and the venom back and forth, do you believe it's healthy for the community?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Matt.
The rhetoric and the venom that's been going back and forth and the anxiety in this room and the anxiety within our community because of maybe 7 years ago, mistake, nefarious, who knows? Let's put all that aside. Do you believe that this anxiety and this rhetoric is healthy for West Wildwood?
I don't believe it is, no.
No, I don't.
Nothing's helped, no, we can't be, but, so we're clear though. I have as much respect for them coming here, stating their opinions, but there is somewhere, there's gotta be a limit. And I get their frustrations, I do. But at the same time, we get money on the quarterback all we want about what happened behind closed doors, nobody will ever know. Whether Mary Bittner said was right, wrong, or different, certain things happen that may not even be in the minutes, but there's something else that happened that these commissioners made a decision on that they were standing by. And it ended up being called a wrong decision, but it was a decision. Nobody, including them, ever expected this to come out, but it did. So I'm with you, Matt.
I can respect that. Like I said,
yeah.
you can almost put it aside, like
Yeah.
possibly it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And possibly it wasn't, and let's look beyond that. And let's look to moving on.
Right.
I agree.
That's it, Matt.
If we can heal, if we can heal as a community,
Yep.
do you really feel that we're gonna heal with the same, like, with you guys? If possible, you could say, we did what we truly believe, we're sorry, but let's move this community on, we're gonna step down. Would you do that? With full respect, and with everybody in this room saying, we accept that you really, truly did the best for the community, or what you believe was best for the community.
And what?
To move forward.
Right.
To let us heal and move on. Would you respectfully step in?
No, absolutely not, Matt.
I just feel that the community right now.
Matt, there's 1,000 taxpayers. I see 100.
If you go to the doctor, you remove the sickness, you cut out the tumor.
Exactly, close down the meeting.
You try to heal.
But Matt,
You
you're-
do the best you can. And I'm just saying, for the best, for the greater morale of the community.
Matt, I can tell you, more residents come to me that sit there and say, you're doing a good job. I see what happened. Frederick started it. You had to finish it. We're done. So it's not just what's here. There's other people in town that appreciate what everybody's done. So Matt, it's just not here. And they love it. People are building. Look at all the houses being built. They're so upset about this that they're building. They're coming back here and living. They're so upset about this. A lot of money coming.
Right now, the anxiety.
That's in this room. That's, Matt, it's the same people keep talking about it. It's the same group of people. Same group of people. It is. I talk to a lot of people. I go out this borough and I talk to a lot of people. That is not the case. But I respect what you're saying.
My family's been here 60 years. It breaks my heart to see it like this.
Well,
And that's what I'm looking to help the greater community, not to point the finger, not to make accusations. I just want to see us.
And we're going to.
I want see us move on.
I agree with that. Let's move on.
Karen Kersey, 651 West Poplar. One of the things I think is important, I agree with you, that we need to move on. But there's also decisions that are being made today and maybe in the future that's going to affect us. For one, knowing full well that Jif was not going to stand behind us, we still forged through and made a case. And we are paying legal costs, and we don't know how much, nobody has any idea. 1,000 for the appeal, 1,000, 36,000, 50,000, we don't know.
That's already paid.
But how much? How much do we pay?
I don't know.
Okay, can you go-
But the clerk can find that out and she'll get it to you.
Okay, thanks.
She'll get that to you.
And the second thing is, part of that deal that was made, and I've asked many different times, and you go back to all the little notes and everything that I asked over and over again. I'm not going to ask that again, but we have hanging over our head at any time she can call in the loan. And that does affect us today. So, and you can sit there and say, oh, she won't do that.
Oh, I'll never say that. I'll never say that. No. I can't speak for her. Does she want to? No. Could it happen? Yes.
But my point is, we did a terrible job at negotiating. If we said, you've got the opportunity at any time to call in, I should say, the money. And the judgment, as it is, as it sits right now, we would have to really jump through a lot of hoops to pay her off.
Karen, let me say something to you, if you don't mind me interrupting you. You say we could have done this, do you understand that they froze our bank accounts? They froze our bank accounts. We had no other option but to say, what do you want? We were frozen. We had no money. Mark, am I correct in saying that?
That's correct. They levied on your bank accounts and
They levied every nickel we had. The attorney levied it.
And they said the only way to unfreeze that is then to give her carte blanche.
No. What happened? Carte blanche. They wanted all the money. We didn't have all the money. So naturally, the administrator sat down with them and worked out the deal that they have today. That's why the deal's in place. And they wouldn't do it any other way other than, and at any time we want to call on this note, we just have to give you whatever is 90 days. I don't know what it
How
is.
do you guys feel about that?
How I feel, rather than
No, how do you feel about if she were to come in and say, okay, I'm giving you 30 days notice, I want my full amount
I'd be
that's
sick.
still due?
I'd be sick. But that can happen tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about something that I'm not sure is going to happen. I tell my kids all the time, worry about something you have control over. When that happens, we'll deal with it. That's,
But we agreed to it, that's the part.
we had to. They froze our money. We had no money. We couldn't pay a bill. Yes.
Helen Mario, 741 West Poplar. I agree with your statement about requesting that the mayor and the commissioners step down. I think that that would go a long way. The constant reminder of them sitting out there and leaving this community, it's just salt in the wound for the actions that they took that were not in the best interest
For your
of this
group,
community.
right?
The other thing, for my group, what
Right.
group am I? I'm a West Wildwood taxpayer.
You're the group that
That's-
comes here
at
8 o'clock
That's
on
my
Wednesday.
group. I take off from work on Wednesdays so I can attend the meeting. You know, it's not just an issue of what happened 7 years ago. It's an issue of the actions that continue to take place going forward. It's the circumstances of, you know, hiring a conflict resolution officer to handle an appeal to have 2 Brady letters taken care of for officers that we have, that's, the taxpayers are being stuck paying this bill for this officer. That is not in our best interest.
Agreed.
Okay, you're thinking about the police chief and you're thinking about the other officer that has the Brady letter. I've said this before, and I will keep saying this, is hopefully I'm not gonna keep saying it for 7 years, but we should not be on the hook for that. It had nothing to do with the reason that they received that Brady letter. If they were unjustly received that letter, they should have dealt with it at that time at their own expense. We, as taxpayers, should not be paying for this. But yet, you passed a resolution that we are responsible for this and we're paying for it. I voiced my opinion then, as did other taxpayers. You paid no attention to it. So it's things like, when you do things like that, that shows us that, again, you are still not looking at what is in the best interest of your taxpayers and the community. You changed the meeting dates from Friday nights at 7 p.m. to Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Again, self-serving and not in the best interest of the taxpayers.
Yes.
So until you show that your actions, you know, you can say whatever you want to say. I tell my son all the time, words are cheap, it's the actions that, you know, you back it up with your action. Until you start to show us that you're really looking out for the interests of the community, you have no right to sit up there.
I just want to make, Kathy Ashbridge, 537 Glenwood. I just want to make sure I understand this, because I'm not a member of any group, and this is the first time I've attended a meeting. So when you responded to the gentleman back there about how it's just these people, it kind of seems like you have no respect for them or what
Oh, I have a lot of
to
respect
say.
for everybody in this room, but I'm entitled to my
But
opinion.
you dismiss them.
I don't dismiss them.
I talk to everybody in the
There's
community.
1,000 residents,
I
ma'am.
talk to everybody in the community, and everyone's happy, and there's building, but yet you can't, as a politician, discount the people in this room.
I'm not discounting, ma'am. He's asking me to resign on the basis of this room. That's what he asked me. And the answer is no, because there's more people in town that don't feel this way. And I wouldn't do it anyway, because I feel in my heart that we've done the job that we needed. We walked into office with a bundle of a mess and a half that I think that this administration did very well with dealing with. Did some of it come out like everybody liked it to believe it would? It did not. But from our hearts, we did what we thought was right. And just because a certain amount of people don't believe that, I don't know what to say. But I believe from our hearts, and with council advising us, we did what we thought was right.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
I guess, like, I would just say, as a completely objective person, and this being my first meeting, it is interesting. You have to understand that there's distrust around all this. Like today, hearing that you both do business in the township, that's crazy to me. And that we're talking about your live-in girlfriend who got the money and your daughter got a police office job, right? You have to understand that there has to be questions about that.
And I've heard,
distrust
and I'm
around
listening
it.
to them.
Pardon me?
And I'm listening to the questions.
I agree, I
Okay.
agree. I actually thought that you wouldn't do as good a job as you have been during this meeting. I will give you that. I thought you would have shut it down earlier.
No, I've never shut a meeting down. I have no desire to ever shut a meeting down. That's the way I feel.
There's this piece of, you get it, right? Like, it's very hard to trust you because of all this stuff that's surrounding you.
And I get that, and I can't change somebody's opinion, but I can only tell you how I
Well,
feel.
then, I guess my point is, if we are going to move forward, right, what can you do, since you're the leader of the town, to turn this around and help us move forward, rather than yelling at people and telling them to move forward? What are you going to do?
First of all, I think that my thought is that I think since all this has happened, we've been open about everything. They've had carte blanche to this office with questions and answers and everything else, and nobody's ever turned them away. To move forward, let them know that they talk about transparency. I think we've given them transparency. There is no hidden agenda. People ask for things, they get it. I don't know what more we can do. I can't go back and change what happened. I can't do that. Wish I could. I can't. That's the way it happened. So let's.
Broken.
Pardon me?
People are hurt. People are broken. You know, I'm scared to death about this money. I did nothing to deserve to have to pay this money. So how you're the leaders, the two of you. It's on your shoulders. How do we move forward? What are you going to do?
What we've been doing. Making the business run, make it run without tax increases, and do the best we can for you, and that's what we're doing. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question. We live on a 7-mile island, and I'm pretty sure the city of Wildwood, city of North Wildwood, and the city of Wildwood Crest both have family working for each other on Samantha Hall's 210 Q Avenue. Family, cousins, brothers, sisters, uncles. I mean, prime example, the city of Wildwood, Triano. It's all over the city. We're harping on
right though.
Exactly, and I agree with you.
Right.
But we're harping on this gentleman here, where it happens in every town. You guys are talking about meetings at
Rich, you know what? We're not saying tonight.
Let's stop, please. Let her finish. Listen, that's her thing.
You guys are talking about a meeting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. The city of Wildwood does a meeting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Understood, but you guys keep saying, oh, the city of West Wildwood. Let's be realistic and look at the island we live on.
But you know,
everyone has their hands in everyone's pockets on this island. Everyone has their cousin, their brother, their uncle.
She's right about that.
Let her finish.
It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right.
But, correct, it doesn't make it right. But at the same time, if you and I are related and you're the mayor, and I want to become a cop, per se, for the city of Northfield, if I go through the police academy, if I pass the test, I deserve a fair chance.
If I'm
just
the
like
mayor of Northfield?
I'm just saying, and I want to be a cop. It's either you're going to say,
And you're the only applicant?
no, not the only applicant.
That's what I'm
Well, that's
saying.
what happened. That's what happened.
Somebody with experience had to be better
Exactly,
qualified.
but I'm just saying in general speaking, if you're an applicant, you have the experience, they deserve the position. That's all I'm saying.
I would just say that if I was the mayor, I would not make that decision, right? Because of nepotism and anti-nepotism laws. I would say, honey, I'll support you in another town, but not here.
Right, but every town has their own thing.
That's what I would do.
That's great.
I don't hire my children as teachers in my district because I don't want that.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Did he hire his daughter?
Sam, let me.
Did he hire
Sam,
his daughter?
listen, the question's going to be number one, but I get what you're saying, but please, go ahead, ma'am.
Patty Roll, 608A West Glenwood. So moving forward, we could have a bill for over $1 million. What plan is in place? Because we don't know if she's going to next month say, I want the bill paid now. What plan, instead of it being a reactive, is there any proactive discussions about how that bill would be paid?
The only way you can pay the bill is to go to the state of New Jersey and get assistance through the local finance board.
Could you?
I'm sorry, your name and address, please, I'm sorry.
I know you said it, but I couldn't write that. What's your name? Patty Tamburello, 608A West Glenwood.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't understand what you just said.
The local finance board, we would go to them and they would work out a plan to pay that debt, that we would have to pay back.
Finance people pay?
Local finance board, the state would fund the money, and then they would increase our taxes by X amount of dollars to pay it, yes. So there is a plan in place. Okay, Dan?
Chris, I just want to jump back to what you said a few minutes ago. I'm having a hard time understanding. You said they froze our bank accounts. When you say our, you mean yours and Jackie's?
Ours, Dan.
Oh, the borough.
The borough.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want to, that's what I was trying to understand. Why did they freeze your bank account? You weren't the one named in the lawsuit. My next question is Samantha.
But you can't, don't address questions
Well,
in
I
public.
want to ask her if she's a candidate running for mayor. That's my only question.
But
No,
that
I'm
has
not
not-
running for mayor.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with this meeting, now. I don't want to bring politics in this, please. Yes, go ahead.
So we were talking politics.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right,
Commissioner. My bad.
So if you go, Mary Ann Walsh, 41, Local Services Finance Board, the last time you went up there, they said in order to get the bond, they would want oversight. Are you willing to do that?
It's not with that. That was one of their options. The other options was they were going to increase our taxes by 11 cents.
Mayor, may I, because
Yes.
you had asked a question before about going back to local finance board, and I believe that I indicated at that point, I didn't think it would be necessary to do that. I followed up with our bond counsel and said, look, what would be the situation should this be called? Where would we be with bonding and where would we be with the local finance board? He told me he believes, yes, we would go back. However, because of what's been done and because there's been a plan set up to advertise it, that there would be a much easier pull to get a approval to bond this. So he seemed relatively confident that it would not be an issue because the borough has already put in furloughs in place. They've amortized the debt for a period of time. They've demonstrated it. They've implemented some of the suggestions. Bond counsel felt pretty confident that we would be able to bond it.
Okay, so even though the mayor was assessed violations through the Local Services Finance Board, they still feel that he would be a good...
Are you talking about the pending ethics things?
Yes.
Yeah, the bond counsel, that's a totally different thing relative to the
Well,
bond.
I mean, you know, if he's going to local...
This would be relative to the borough's ability to pay, and bond counsel felt very comfortable, because I was concerned after you asked that, I wanted to follow up with him and say, hey, look, you're the bond counsel, what do you think? You were up there, and he said, given the set of circumstances, it would be a much easier pull to get approval. So if that gives you any comfort level, no one can predict how this will work, but because it's being paid regularly, and the borough's demonstrated a plan of action that's feasible, he felt relatively comfortable with it.
Okay, and I have another comment regarding Samantha's comment, okay, about, you know, the nepotism and everything. So we were trying to be proactive, and we requested that the commissioners develop a nepotism policy, okay, for the borough, all right? And they said, they came back and they said there was no desire to adopt a nepotism policy. And then less than a month later, the mayor hired it. The mayor did not vote on the resolution, but the other two commissioners agreed to hire his daughter, okay? That does not give comfort to us, okay? That does not seem transparent, okay? I feel that that was just, yes, okay? And this is these are the kind of actions that they're taking which do not give us comfort, okay? And that's a concern for a lot of these taxpayers here, okay? That's a prime example of, we voiced our opinion, we said, look, let's be proactive, let's not do, let's have a nepotism policy, adopt a nepotism policy.
And I'm going to say the same thing I say all the time. And I agree with what you're saying. If she lived in Middle Township, she lived in North Wildwood Crest, and she wanted a job here, I'm picking locals first. You take care of your locals first. They pay taxes.
And
They
we're
live there.
locals.
Let me
Right,
finish.
we're locals.
No.
Take care of us.
And, oh, did you apply for the job? I didn't know.
No, I'm saying take care of us.
Oh,
We pay
okay.
the taxes.
So what I'm saying is that you take your local base first, of which she was born and raised here, and all them things. You should take care of your locals first, especially if she stays here and pays taxes and lives here and contributes to the town. To me, that's what you do, regardless of whether it's Nicole Fox or you or anybody else, or your grandson or granddaughter or whatever. If they live here and you pick from your, that's what you do. And that's exactly what we did. She didn't live somewhere else. So, and that's the reason why. God, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Mayor Zajac, 753 West Palm. Your daughter is an absolute sweetheart. I love her dearly. I mean that too. She is an absolute sweetheart. However, I did say to her, why would you want to come to a borough with all this stuff going on? Okay? As a parent, I said this to her. I have a son in law enforcement. I would no more subject my child to this mess than the man in the moon. I wouldn't. I know me. I know me. So I wouldn't have done it to her. Just by that last name of Fox. There are people here, I don't know who you are, but anyway, that because of her last name, she'd be, and that's not fair.
That's not fair.
That's not giving her a chance. So as a parent, I said, she even said, I worked in Wildwood before. I said, why did you leave? I did say. I just would not subject my child to it. And again, she's a sweetheart. Absolute sweetheart. I love her dearly.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
you
Dan, wait a
feel
second, I'm
640
sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Joe Figures to I Avenue. Last month, I think it was, there was a Council on Affordable Housing application made that we were returning the fee because that got canceled. Can you tell us what property was intended to be developed with affordable housing and who the developer was?
Well, it was several houses. And what happens is when homes are built here, they assess this fee under affordable housing you must pay when you build, so you can use that fee, goes in a bank account, and you can help affordable houses, people that maybe need, certain things under the affordable housing policy. Well, we found out by checking into it that we didn't have to pay these fees. It was only for certain towns that were involved with some lawsuit that would have to, pay these fees in their town, like Wildwood, for example. So when we found this out, we went back and looked to see who paid this fee and reimbursement fee, because it was sitting in the account anyway, and it's their money, so that's all
Mayor,
it was about.
may I step in? So one of the things that concerned me when I became the solicitor here is that there was a period of time in which the borough had to file for a declaratory judgment action to obtain protection from builders' remedy lawsuits. For some reason, prior council elected not to do that within that window. So I retained the services of COA counsel Jeff Serenian, who represents 56 municipalities and is a consultant to the league. We filed the declaratory judgment action. We obtained protection for a period of time, and as part of the process to get protection through 2025, his recommendation was that we visit that list and refund those monies. And although I can't tell you, as I sit here, each person on the list, we do have it available for you.
But it was basically every developer.
It was
had
the
to pay this
individuals that
fee.
paid into the fund, and they were all treated equally across the board.
So it was set in escrow?
Yes, it was set in a COA escrow fund, and in the negotiations with Fair Share Housing, our COA attorney said, I recommend refund these monies. We'll do a series of ordinances in conjunction with Fair Share to get the qualified immunity through 2025, and then if you want, you can recollect fees on an ongoing basis, but he recommended a refund of those, and that's really the history relative to that.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Dan Gaffier, 641 Glenwood Avenue. So I just want to clarify, what I meant to say was, are you running for commissioner? So the only reason I asked that was because she made a statement voluntarily, it's on camera, that we live on a 7-mile island and everybody's in everybody's pockets. With that being said, if you're running for office, is that really the correct mindset to go into running for office?
Well, let me say this to you, Jan. Until she or anybody returns their packet to the borough clerk, they're not running for office. When they submit it. And I can say that, other than Nancy, that's the only person.
I didn't mean any disrespect.
So I don't know that that's
So-
appropriate,
I apologize to you, but I didn't mean any disrespect. As far as the police go, she couldn't be any, she hit on the nail in the coal. She is a sweetheart.
Thank you, Dan.
It's a shame that she's tainted by her name, and that shouldn't be. I've watched all your daughters grow up.
But I don't know if she's paid by name, that's always like.
I wish people wouldn't judge her by name, because she's been professional with me. She came out on a couple occasions. Number one, I called her up on last Friday, there's a state trooper sitting across the street that I noticed for 3 hours. So now I know the state cops are here. I already told her she was on an emergency call. But getting back to that hiring within, did we have Walt Bellis back here for over 20 years? And he lived out in Middle Township?
Yeah, but there was, at the time, there was no one that was hired, when it was put out, there was nobody, and I'm trying to remember, because you go back a lot of years ago, so I don't know how many other people.
Well, I've only been back here for 19, so I'm only, and I had the greatest respect for Walt. Walt followed me in on my first night moving in on my house. He stopped me, as he should have done, because I was backing into my driveway with an Inquirer truck that I delivered after my shift, which was well approved by my supervisors, and he stopped me to find out what my business was. From that day, I had nothing but respect for the West Wildwood Police. I like the fact that they stopped to see who I was.
Well, and that's what we like.
But with that being said, how are we going to get more than 2 applicants if you put it out on an app that people just don't know where to search?
We get applicants, okay, but you have to understand, the other towns that pay more money, they're gonna look there first, and sometimes we get lucky. Even right now, we're having a tough time getting Class 2 officers. It's hard because the other islands pay more, they have more to offer, we don't have more to offer.
I
But at
couldn't
the same
agree with
time,
you
so-
more.
So sometimes when the applicants come in, as much as we want locals.
Our Class 2 officers are making, I said it before, our Class 2 officers are making what I made in 1984, bagging groceries at Pathmark.
Right.
And they carry a gun?
I mean, I wouldn't want it. Sad. It really is sad that we've come to this. How do we turn it around? What's our game plan? What's our game plan going forward? Pass the lawsuit. What do you guys intend to do to try and heal these deeply cut wounds that we can't seem to get past?
I don't know that it's honestly, it's us looking at each other and saying, okay, I know we can't go back and change things. We can move forward. It's the people that want to, from the heart, be able to say, let's move and look for tomorrow and forget about yesterday. Knowing there is this possibility, this other things can happen, but there is a plan in place to fix that. So as a group, and let me tell you something, this is one of the best towns in the world, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more.
It's a town that people respect one another, they love one another, they look out for each other. None of that's changed, other than trying to get past this issue. And if everybody takes the time out to do that, it'll work.
But you can't understand. If given the circumstances were different, let's just say hypothetically you weren't living with Jackie and you're sitting in my seat, you could understand why we feel the way we feel.
I understand everything.
Because it doesn't seem like you do.
I've never, that's not true, Dan. You know me long enough to know I'll call a spade. You know me.
Okay.
I don't hold back nothing.
Watch the way you say it, we're in 2019.
Yeah, that's you saying that.
No, I'm just saying,
That's not me.
I'm just saying, put yourself in our shoes for just a minute.
I'm saying to you that I know how you feel, I get how you feel, but I can't change what's happening. Other than we make sure we prepare for tomorrow, and we're doing that, Dan.
So what are we doing? What's our game plan is what my question is.
Have reference to what?
How do we move past this?
Everybody's got to look in their own hearts and say, quit attacking, let's move forward, let's do the right thing for the
We're not
community.
attacking, we're asking questions.
And I'm answering the questions,
Okay.
but they're the same questions every single month. The first time nothing changes, my answers aren't gonna change. So it's time to move
Do you
forward.
realize that we've made the New York Post and the LA Times, like how embarrassing that is that we hear from people that were, like,
Well, we allowed that to happen, Dan. We allowed that to happen.
we used to be called the best kept secret back here when I
Right,
bought
and we
here.
allowed that to happen. When you invite the media into your home, you've created that. When you invite cameras into your home.
I didn't invite that camera.
I'm just saying, that's when you create that. If you didn't want that to happen, that should never happen. When it did, you've opened it up, so New York Times, God
Well,
bless.
with that being said, we could have done away with that camera. We already have the system over there on the wall that's paid for, that we could be using every month, saving us the camera money. That could be recording everything that's going on in that bathroom.
You only asked.
I've heard
You
it.
only asked why you're in New York Times. I'm telling you, it's why you weren't. I'm not upset about that, I'm not upset about that.
But the
I'm
only
just
reason
telling you
that we
why.
have the camera here is so we have something to rebut on, so we have something to recap on. Because the minute you sent out,
Then it's beneficial to you, I'm good for that.
but
I'm
we
okay
could
with
have
that.
done without the camera, had we activated, that thing's already paid for, it's sitting up there, it's a big black box on the wall. That's paid for already, and we're not using it. And it records pretty damn good,
I don't
let me
know
tell you,
if
it picks up
I don't
everything.
think We've ever used it, so.
So can we,
Go ahead, Pat.
Hi, I just wanted to say that the reason I've held on to this, not only because of my personal goods that were taken from me, but the police department was well aware, and everyone that knows me in the town was well aware, that my son's Medal of Honor from Iraq was also taken. And that was unforgivable.
Yes, I agree.
Because that person knows nothing about honor, knows nothing about respect. And my other concern, and I appreciate, Scott, when you do look into it, why when I come to the police department, because I feel sometimes like my safety is in jeopardy, because I was the only person that stood up in court against this person. And he actually stood up with his orange suit on, totally in chains, and big, and nasty, and turned around and looked at the judge and looked at me and said, "What is she doing here? This is a drug hearing." And I was the only one that stood up and protested about the things that he had done to this community. Not just me, but multiple people. And why do I come to the police department and they don't know if he's in or out? But people can go on their computers and maybe find out. But I have the prosecutor's office who is kind enough and concerned enough to call me and say, when he went up for parole this last time, maybe 2 months ago, that he was denied parole and that he will be in jail for 2 more years.
Good.
But I think our community, as a community, would feel a lot safer if we walk up to the police department and say, where is this criminal? Is he in jail or is he not? And they say, we're not going to do that.
Well, they
don't
should
have a
have
way.
said, listen, we'll get back to you.
I would
They should have
appreciate
said.
it. You know, I appreciate it, but I don't understand it. You know, I'm just another, woman here on the island that's, and it's very concerning when you have a criminal that has a vengeance for you at this point. And, they're, and I feel bad for them. I have, my heart goes out to them. I have a lot of people in my family that are addicts, but I don't understand them breaking in and harming people and killing people so that their habit can be taken care of.
Yeah, that's.
And destroying people's lives.
Yeah, shame. Thank you, Pat.
But thank you for looking into that.
Tom Flakowski, 609 West Poplar. You said you wanted to move on in the community. I think maybe the first thing you could do is change the meetings back to Friday night.
Yes.
We wouldn't have the camera in. What's the response?
Can you give us an update on the beach access project and what its final cost?
I don't have the final cost, because I think a few things are supposed to be completed with it, so I probably won't have them for a few weeks, I would say. Right, Carl? On beach access, we're going to find the cost for this.
Until we get a final bill in yet, and there's still a punch list that's being worked on right now of some corrections to be done.
Yes.
So we won't know until after that's done.
And is there a shot at maybe getting something to resolve some of the kayak access that people are commenting on?
I heard a little bit about it, I don't know if we've had any.
I've been down there with several people at different times and watched them with their kayaks. I haven't seen anybody have any trouble. Most of them will lift the kayak right over the bulkhead itself.
Right.
And others have carried it up as well, but it seems like the most reasonable thing for them to do, because they carry those kayaks to begin with, is that they just lift them over the bulkhead, walk over, or jump over the bulkhead, believe it or not, and then pull it the rest of the way and go in the water.
Okay.
Susan Spallina, 547 West Maple. I just have a couple of financial questions. Suddenly, well, this is not a financial question, I'm sorry, maybe it is. Administrator Ridings left. Are we replacing him?
Not right at the moment. We're going to see how things go and look to see how we function without him. And Carl's actually doing a good job filling in for a lot of the duties, and I've stepped up and we're doing some of the things he did. And like one of the things he talked about was the JIF matters, where we put Carl in one spot, put Donna in another spot. So we're, figuring things out without him. And if the need comes that we need an administrator, we're going to look for one.
Okay, so Carl is still the deputy clerk, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you give me an update on the ethics violations?
No, I cannot.
No, you won't, or?
No, I cannot. I don't have any updates.
Oh, okay. And an update on the mall winning?
Yes, I can give you that. I spoke with the attorney personally that's handling the Mahoney case, and this response is going to be the same for probably the next 4 or 5 months, because since the mediation, as you know, was unable to resolve, they have now embarked on a discovery period, which is approximately 180 days, in which they exchange interrogatories, notices to produce, request for production of documents. They'll go into a deposition schedule. In the meantime, there will be no motion practice within the context of that case generally. So you're looking at probably the next 4 to 5 months of discovery phase.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got another question?
Just one question.
Go ahead. No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
fine.
Suddenly, we're paying money to something called Equity Trust on behalf of the settlement agreement with Michelle Douglas, her fees from the Friends lawsuit.
Yes.
Why are we doing that?
She requested that, and she has the right to request it, that she wants to separate what's owed her and put some in one aspect and some in the other.
She basically has a separate account, and she wanted it sent to that. She wanted her money split up.
We are just accommodating her, or
Yeah, basically.
are we required to?
We are required to. If she asks, we must do it.
Well, okay, so as I said, okay, so there you go, a year for that. But it's basically a request on her part, and the mayor's indicated, the auditor has instructed that it's appropriate to do that.
Well, I will tell you this.
Is it a legal
I'll tell you what
issue?
happened. Commissioner Maxwell originally denied it, and then she showed the
court?
that she said, listen, don't make me take you to court, here's the rule that says it. So, long story short, and check with the auditor's order says you must do it. So we did, and again, it's not a big deal, all we do is cut a separate check. That's all, but it's the same amount of money. Sir?
John Stezak, 608A, West Glenwood. Before the meeting ends, would you be willing to give us a breadcrumb, or for me, it would be a loaf of bread, and give us that Friday meeting? Because you were asked, you didn't respond, and just, for me, it would be wonderful to have Friday to be able to be in the meeting.
I'll be truthful, I'm not, when I see a difference in how we're moving forward, I would be happy to do that.
You'll see, you'll see this year.
I'll be there. Well, actually, I'll be there. West side. Just kidding.
Thank you.
What do you think that means?
Yeah, I wanted, what's the update on the, sending the officers to the police academy?
Name and,
I'm sorry, that's okay. Mary Ann Walsh, 741 West Poplar. What's an update about sending the officers?
I have no update on that at this time. The chief hasn't indicated when, if, and when, or where she's going to send them, so I have no update.
Does that get approved by you, or?
It's approved by a chief, she has that in her budget to work with.
Helen Rayo, 741 West Poplar. So, you know, again, about putting the past behind and moving forward, your statement right there about holding these meetings, dates hostage, it's ridiculous, and it is so indicative of how you operate and the type of person you are. Again, very self-serving. You know, if you guys back off and leave me alone, I can move the meeting dates back to Friday. I'm good
Yes,
with
it is
that.
what you
That's
said.
exactly what you just said.
Definition of.
What about, what about using the cameras in the recording system here? Is there a reason that we're not using it?
I don't even know if it works, to be honest with you.
Well, can we test it and see if it
Well,
does
I
work?
can tell
and
you,
then
I know
start
for a
using
fact
it?
there's no camera system here.
Okay, the audio
As far as
system.
recording, I don't know how antiquated the system is.
Okay, can we test it maybe between this meeting and the next 2 weeks? Test it out and see if that can work?
I don't have the audio out of it, I
Check
don't
and
know.
see.
Yeah, we can look at
Okay,
it.
that's
How it
great.
works, take a look at it.
That's great, and the other, my other, I guess, comment to the mayor about, you know, us bringing the media in. You know, if there was nothing going on in this community, nobody
I'm
would
not
be
upset about the
here.
media coming in, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. He
About the
asked to be
media
made in the
coming
New York
in.
Times. I says, well,
Right.
the media's here, when you bring the media, that's what happened, so I'm not against it. I'm okay with the media being here.
Okay. So you said that in a positive way?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. All right, great.
So
Yeah,
getting
that was-
back to the surveillance and the audio system, I mean, I don't know when the last time the audio system was checked, but I know for a fact that, oh, I'm sorry, Dan DeFeer, 641 Glenwood. I know for a fact that that did work, it worked pretty darn good, but why would we pay for a camera system that's sitting right up there that doesn't record? Because we do know that the police department see it, because it worked perfectly on that Christmas party when they came out and threw an 89-year-old man out.
This camera system has no audio to it whatsoever.
But it does record.
Oh, I don't know that to be factual. You know that?
Well, why would we pay for a camera that doesn't record?
I have no idea. I don't know.
It's like giving a dog a ball with no water. Okay, so the only reason I asked that question was because we were getting back, so, but with the two officers we're sending to the academy, one of them being Nicole, they both worked for Wildwood a year and a half. Do we have to pay Wildwood back for their cost of sending them to the academy? Their original, because they didn't work the 2 years required? Scott?
No.
So Wildwood's pardoning us because every other borough you have to work for them for 2 years?
I had no bill in front of me from Wildwood, nothing's been said to me from the chief and her hiring of them, that we were eligible, had to pay them any money whatsoever.
Is that the normal though, is what I'm asking you? It's
I'm
like,
not quite
say
sure
we
exactly what the
hire a
normal
class 2 officer, they work here a year and decide, hey, West Wildwood's not,
I don't know what the time frame is when we have, when.
I think it's 2 years, but I could be wrong, but I think it's
I
2.
can find out for you, Dan, I'll have someone get in touch with you on it, that's all.
But if that's the case, are we responsible for paying back Wildwood the cost of sponsoring her at the academy, is my question.
As of right now, we're not responsible for anything that I know.
And you know that for sure.
So that's what I know at this moment, I will look
Okay.
into it now.
Okay. Just want to make sure there's no more unseen bills.
John Stazak, 608A West Wildwood. I gotta admit, I'm not really satisfied with the answer that you gave me. And I'm not badgering in any way, shape, or form. I'm confused as an adult that I don't, what does it take to get to a Friday? You know, if I'd have had my fingers crossed if I was sitting in your seat going, all right, I'm gonna give them this. And let's hope that we're making progress.
Right.
But you shot me down, and you shot everyone down by just saying, you're green.
Do you want me to lie to you and say?
No. Other than you, I am the most honest person in the world, and that I can attest to. So I have nothing to hide, all right? But I just don't understand that these people are coming here to do their best. And maybe we don't say the right thing the right way. But I've heard some people say the wrong things here, from that side of the desk to this side of the desk. No one's being a gentleman or a lady, they're being snippy. And that goes on your side of the bench, sir. And so we're just asking for a meeting, that's all, to be changed. And maybe you'll see a difference. And if you don't, you could go back to the 3 o'clock on us. It's a game, but you could do it.
It's, all of it's a game, I agree with you, but that's, you know.
Okay.
We'll work through it.
So you'll consider the meeting?
Pardon me?
Can we make a motion?
No,
Well, can I ask how many people here would like the Friday? I didn't ask it, but they gave the answer anyway. So, I'm just asking you, could you think about it really?
I said last month, and it'll take a few months, let me think about it.
Few months?
Go over this again. That's all.
Few is 2, just so you know, so we're 1 month out. So you got 1 month to possibly give us that, right?
We'll talk to the, we'll
I'm
talk.
pretty good at math. So
All right, so let's go until November.
All right, thank you.
Now it's still kind of.
2! You don't do your math well.
The cameras came in so that people could see that. We didn't necessarily feel that everything was fair to all of us. And to see month after month, we didn't get answers for things. So, you know, it's been a small community, and like I said to you before, people go, well, how come everybody's here now? And I've said it 1 million times. We're here because of the $1 million. People were not necessarily thinking there was a problem until there was a problem. And then when that happened, this is a result of all this. And just like this, we've been asking you about the meeting since January when you changed it. So you say, if we show you, well, then maybe you need to give us a list of what you're talking about that would accommodate the change for the meeting. If we're asking you to extend the Olive Garden, and that's the one thing that we're asking for, and you're saying, well, until you show me, but I think we need to know what that is.
Listen, I'm gonna change, again, and we're gonna talk to her in the basement, comes to Friday night meetings.
Well, you
Things
hold
have
all the
to be
cards.
changed. I do, and that's the idea of being an elected official. When elected officials go into towns, they sit there as a collective group and say, okay, what night works for you and what time works for you? Because you revolve around what the commissioners' lifestyles are. Believe it or not, they really honestly do that. And in this case, it's the same. That's how it works.
So it worked for 40
So
years.
everything's had to
Never
change.
worked
whether
that way
it's
in West
commissioners-
Wildwood.
It did. You just
No,
didn't
it's,
know that. Yes.
listen, my family's been here since the
I know,
50s.
and-
No way, every Friday was our meeting.
Okay, and I would disagree with you, but I'm not gonna go into
Well,
what
you
dates or
agreed
what
to
years,
disagree,
okay? But
and
it did
I disagree
change.
with
But,
you.
again, I wanna move forward, it sounds like you folks wanna move forward. Give me a few months to see how things go. I'm gonna look at my schedule, see what I can change, and we'll work with it, okay?
Okay, and then the next thing I'd like to remind both of you, we are all taxpayers. Although we don't have the right to vote, you represent us all. We are all taxpayers. And that is the one thing that we are asking for. And we are really hoping that you will really take that into consideration and just not give us lip service month after month after month. Because that's what really happens when you just ignore what we're asking for. That is the one thing that people are asking for. And I'm gonna ask you, I wasn't speaking to you, so I'm gonna ask you, please, to refrain when I'm talking to up here.
And I agree with that.
So thank you.
Yes, I do agree with that.
West Poplar, Living Shoreline, can we get an update on that?
I don't think there is anything.
No, right now, they're still working on funding.
Yes.
With the DEP, is that who is?
I'm sorry?
Will the DEP determine funding?
No, the DEP is going to be the basic
Yeah.
person that's going to say, yes, go ahead with the entire plan. Right now, the conservation group is the one that's trying to get the funding, and so are we.
And
We're
we cannot
utilizing
move forward.
everything that we can do, every avenue that we can find where there is money available, and I've already been online to see who has been given money with projects not exactly like this, but somewhat similar, where it is conservation of land and to do with waterfront, and see where they got the money, and see what the problems are, and also what the good possibilities are. It's gonna take a while.
Right.
But without funding, we cannot and will not move forward because it's too much. Yes, ma'am.
Helen Reyes, 741, has, West Poplar, has anyone been deposed yet on the Millennium suit?
I do not know, but I suspect not, because normally in the initial phase of discovery, they exchange interrogatories, and then they use those as the basis for the deposition. But I can check for you and let you know. But he didn't go into a specific schedule as to what's occurred, other than to say that it's going to be about a 5-month period.
And when did that 5 months period start?
Approximately, so they had the mediation.
Right.
It failed. I believe then there was a scheduling order, so it would have been within the last 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can get you exact timeframes if you'd like.
Yes.
I'll ask him to give me a scheduling order if he has one.
Will you please
Yep.
bring that, or your associate, if he
Yeah, not a
intends
problem.
on
I can
your
do that.
absence to the next meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions, folks?
Excuse me, this is for the solicitor, Susan Sawyer, 547 West Maple. What do you mean by interrogatories? That
Okay, so.
sometimes you're talking in legal
Okay, I'm
terms.
sorry.
That's
So,
okay.
there are legal terms of art, I understand. In New Jersey courts, they have several vehicles for conducting discovery, which is obtaining sworn testimony under oath or providing materials. Interrogatories are questions, written questions, that require written answers under oath that are given to a particular defendant that he must answer. And those are usually propounded first by the attorney upon the defendant or the plaintiff, as the case may be. They answer under oath, and then they utilize those as the basis for formulating the deposition questions that they want to ask.
And
Okay?
who is the defendant? Just the borough?
The-
In the Mullen case?
Yes.
Just the borough?
Are there other defendants?
Are there other defendants?
The borough is what we're concerned with. Right.
But are there other defendants other than?
I do not know if Jim is representing other defendants. I believe he's only representing the borough. Our JIF attorney, I believe he's only representing the borough. But we are represented by the JIF fully in that matter. And I can get you a breakdown, when I get you the case caption, that sets forth the discovery schedule, you'll see the entire caption of everybody.
Great.
Any other questions,
Yes.
folks?
Helen Rayo, 741 West Poplar. Are there any lawsuits that have come to light, any other claims against the borough?
No, not to my knowledge, that's the only one.
Mayor? Scott?
That's what I know.
Scott, one follow-up question for you about if we were responsible for reimbursing Wildwood for any costs for Nicole not having completed the full term that was required there. Is that it in Wildwood? Was it 3 years? They might be
I
responsible.
don't know
for
exactly
something.
how long
Okay,
term limit
so
was in
you
Wildwood.
said that the police chief would get that invoice or the bill. Would she notify you about
Yes,
that,
I
or
would
would
come.
she?
Yes,
she-
definitely.
Okay, so she would not have the
Right, I
ability
have-
to just pay that on her own?
No,
Something-
myself and at this time Mayor Fox has to approve all bills.
Okay.
And
So
that
you
bill,
let us
remember,
know.
even if you send them to the academy, that's the reason why I have this, because they send them to the academy, other departments steal them, and then they lost all that money for sending them to the academy.
Right.
So in this aspect, Wall was right that what they would be doing, because we hired her anyway, we would be sending them and paying for the academy anyway, so.
Right, but if we
it's something
hired
Wall would be
somebody
entitled
else
to.
that maybe wouldn't have had that.
Pardon me?
If we would have hired someone else that maybe had already completed
No,
their
because
term.
it's not the first time we've ever paid.
But I'm saying, in this instance, if we hired someone that had completed their term, there wouldn't be that cost associated with them.
But again, we've hired people, and you're right, but in the
Okay,
past,
that
we've hired
was
people.
my
yeah.
question.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
I just have a quick question. Dolores Perkowski, 517 West Poplar. How many people do we pay medical for in this office in here?
I don't have it, I know, I don't know, I have to get that to you. Donna, can you get that to her, please?
Sure.
She'll get the number and get it right
You don't
there.
have a job anymore, so we paying for you?
Well,
And he never pays his
what are you talking
taxes,
about?
but yet he gets his
I
medical.
don't-
So all this doesn't add up.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I said, okay.
Just want to know how many people we're paying for.
And Donna's gonna get that. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Nancy Doherty, 215 or with the reference to the police sending them to the academy, can't we get a contract that they have to stay with us for at least 2 years if we're paying for them to become officers?
The city of Wildwood, every department does that in the state of New Jersey. They try to hold people down. They really cannot, by law, they try it. And, you know, it's just something they're trying to, it's an honor system. If somebody goes to Middle Township, they must pay Wildwood. Vice versa, that's what they try to do, to get this money back so the taxpayers don't get hit so bad. But it's really an honor system. I don't know if they can hold them to it.
Yeah, because, I mean, they can come to Wildwood and then go to the academy and then maybe go to another town.
That's all the time.
And, you know,
Yes.
and we're stuck with that bill.
It happens all the time. Believe me when I tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Jay Jackson, 53 West Poplar. My understanding was that she was part-time and that since our borough was offering a full-time position, that became, you know, more interesting because of the fact that she was only part-time in the
Yeah, I would think that would be more enticing, because that's what you're saying,
Right,
yes, yeah,
right.
absolutely, you're right, yes. Yes, sir.
Just my last bit, John
Now, listen,
Spezak,
whatever
608A.
Whatever questions you have, we're here.
Got
Over
got
Thursday,
one more
John.
thought. How about you surprise us in October 3 o'clock meeting, and like, well, September, 3 o'clock meeting, and then October 7th.
But if I tell you that today, it wouldn't be a surprise.
But I'm asking you to put it on the website though, like, you know, that shows up.
Good answer.
Kind of hint you're gonna do it. Come on.
All right. Any other questions? Here and on, I close this portion of the meeting floor, and thank you folks for coming out. See you next time. Thank you.